My name is Savannah. Today I will be guiding you through a very slow class, but slow does not mean easy. We will be holding postures for about 10 breaths, which is about a minute. In order to work on strength, we need to hold a posture or position for a longer period of time. This is a slow practice, and it is also a strong practice. So I hope you enjoy it. And this practice is also a wonderful reminder to us that nothing lasts forever. Everything is temporary. So when you feel that a pose is never going to end, you're never going to come out of warrior two or chair pose. You will. Just stay with your breath. And with time, I will guide you out of the pose. But if you do need to come out of it sooner, listen to your body and you can come out of it sooner. We will begin class in a comfortable seated position. Make any adjustments that you need to any part of your body in order to settle in here. Bring your focus, bring your attention to your breath. Full inhale, full exhales. If you have some kind of intention that you would like to set for your practice today, you can do that now. Maybe it is for someone in your life that you are thinking about. Maybe someone that is struggling, someone that is sick, someone that is dealing with a lot right now. Maybe it is for yourself. Maybe it is a word that comes to mind. Strong, powerful, capable, confidence. Once you have chosen your intention, you can repeat it to yourself 3 times. And then at any point during the practice where you feel like giving up, where you don't know how much longer we're going to hold a pose for, come back to that intention. What brought you to practice today? What do you hope to get out of your practice? Can you breathe a little bit deeper now? Send your breath all the way down to the deepest part of your belly. Allow your inhale breath and your exhale breath to even out. Allow your focus, your awareness to be right here, right now. Now on your next breath, allow it to be the biggest breath you have taken today. A huge full inhale and a gigantic big exhale. Make that breath as big as you can. Fill up and then let it all go. And then, as you're ready, you can meet me on your back. We'll start with a bridge pose. bring the feet to about hip distance apart and see if you can just touch your heels. That's how far away your feet should be from your hips. Arms rest next to your body. When you're ready, press into the feet, lift the hips up, engage your glutes and your hamstrings. Hamstrings are the back of your upper thighs, the back of your upper legs. Press into the feet, lift the hips up more. Think of bringing the feet towards the back of your mat, towards you. This will engage the hamstrings a little bit more. This is the first pose that we hold for about 10 breaths. Stay with it. Stay with your breath. Allow this class to be meditative. Simply breathing and holding postures for an extended period of time. We're halfway there. Lift your hips up a little bit more. One more breath. Slowly let the hips come down. Take your feet to mat distance apart, to the edges of your mat, and then take the knees from left to right a few times. From here, we'll come into a single leg bridge. So we'll start with lifting up the right leg, holding there for about 10 breaths. So preparing for bridge pose, lifting up the right leg. Here we go. Inhale, lift up. Lift the hips up a little bit higher. Press firmly down into the left foot. Relax your shoulders. Relax everything that doesn't need to be working right now. Halfway there. Good, set the right foot down and right away lift the left leg up, press into the right foot, lift the hips up higher, extend the left leg out fully. 10 breaths. If you breathe deeply, inhaling fully, exhaling fully, and you count each breath, it will help you to stay in the pose, to stay with your practice. Halfway there. Release the left foot down to your mat. Lower your hips down slowly to your mat. Take your feet to the edges of your mat and take your knees from side to side. From here, we'll come into a supine twist. We won't be holding this one for 10 breaths, about 5 breaths each side. Bring your knees up into tabletop, your legs into tabletop, arms out to a T. Take your legs over towards the right. Look wherever feels comfortable for your neck. I'm going to look towards my left hand. Take your legs back through center and release them over towards the left. Look wherever is comfortable for you. I'm going to look towards my right hand. And breathe here. In and out through the nose. Let's bring the legs back to center, hug your knees in towards your chest, and then come into a tabletop position on all fours. Shoulders are aligned over the wrists, hips are aligned over top of your knees. From here, let's extend the right leg, take the right leg out to the right side. So your foot is off of your mat and lift it up here over the ground. Try to get it as high as you can, and we'll hold here. Try not to lean too much into your left hand. So I like to come up onto my left fingertips. Halfway there. Start to release, bring the knee back into tabletop, release the left palm down onto the mat. Take a couple of breaths in your tabletop. Feel the heat that is building in your lower body, in the hips, in the legs. And let's do that on the other side. So take your left leg out to the left side. Your foot is off of your mat. And when you're ready, lift the leg up as high as you can, up to about hip height if possible. And I'm going to tint up onto the fingers of my right hand, trying to keep the weight even. A couple more breaths. Release. Come back to tabletop. Bring the right palm all the way down to the mat once again. Take a couple of breaths in tabletop. Find stillness. Just stay in tabletop, hands and knees. And breathe. From here, take the hands a little bit farther in front. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. So heels can be lifted up high off of the mat if that works better for you. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Hips are high. Arms are extended out long. Fingers are spread nice and far apart. And we'll stay here for 10 breaths. Do your best in these poses today to get settled into the pose, make any adjustments that you need to, and then to be still. Try not to fidget, try not to move. Focus on your breath. Focus on being in the pose. One more breath. Step your feet forward, top of the mat. Find a forward fold. You can bend your knees as much or as little as you like. Fingertips can be down to the mat, or you can reach opposite hand for opposite elbow. Head is heavy towards the ground. If you would like to, you can lift your hips up more towards the ceiling, straightening out the knees a little bit. From here, bring your hands onto your shins. Pull your heart forward, reaching the chest forward, reaching the hips back behind you. Straightening out the legs here, but you can have a bend in them if that feels better for your hamstrings. Press the hands into the shins and the shins back into the hands. Feel some strength in your spine to hold you in this position. Feel some heat building in your spine. Be still in this pose. One more breath. Come all the way up to stand. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands come down through heart center. Take a moment here to come back to your intention that you set earlier. Why did you come onto your mat today? What are you hoping to get out of your practice? Let's reach the arms up. Let's continue. Inhale, exhale, fold down over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant the palms down, step back into a plank. We'll hold plank for just a couple of breaths. Come back to downward facing dog. Come to plank, side plank on the right side. So right hand is down, the left arm reaches up. Left leg is stacked on top of the right leg. Lift the hips up a little bit higher. Make sure the fingers of your right hand are spread nice and far apart. That's really going to help your wrists. One more breath. Come to plank. Left hand comes down. Come back onto the balls of your feet. Shoulders over the wrists. Come back to down dog. Couple of breaths here. Notice how your body is feeling. Come back to plank. Side plank on the other side. Right arm lifts up. Left hand is down. Left fingers are spread nice and far apart. Lift your hips up more. Maybe you fall, maybe you lose your balance. Just come right back into the pose. Last breath, full breath in, and a full breath out. Come back to plank. Come onto the balls of your feet, shoulders over wrists, holding here for just a couple of breaths. Come back to downward facing dog. One more breath in your downward facing dog, hips high. Arms and legs extended nice and far. Head is heavy. Let's step now the left foot through in between the hands, coming into Crescent Lunge. So shoulders come over the hips, arms reach overhead, left knee is stacked over the left ankle, deeply bent into the left knee. Two more breaths. Good, bring your hands down to frame your left foot. Step back to plank, holding plank a couple of breaths. Hips high, come to down dog. Right away, let's do Crescent Lunge on the right side. Step the right foot through, top of the mat. Rise up, shoulders over hips, arms reach overhead. Bend deeply into your right knee, so the knee is aligned over the ankle. Try to be equally strong in both legs, right and left. Reach up higher through the fingers, sink down lower through the legs. Just a couple more breaths. Good, bring the hands down to frame the right foot, step back to plank. Hold plank for just 2 breaths. Send your hips back, come to down dog. Heels melt down towards the mat. It's okay if they're lifted though. Fingers just bring nice and far apart. Anytime that we are bearing weight on the hands. Look forward to the top of your mat. Make your way there, feet meet the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Long spine. Exhale, fold. Come to chair pose. Hips sit low, arms reach up high. If this feels like too much for your shoulders, you can bring your hands together at heart center. That's what I'll be doing today. Sit your hips lower. You can have your feet together or hips width distance apart. It's up to you. Allow your chest to reach up towards the ceiling. Feel your legs so strong. Feel your legs supporting you. Three more breaths. Good, let's release. Reach all the way up with the arms. Inhale, exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Pull out your palms, step back to plank. Hold plank for a couple of breaths. One more breath here. Send the hips up and back as you come into downward facing dog. Step your left foot through in between the hands, top of the mat. Come into warrior 2. So your feet are very wide apart. You're almost taking up your whole mat with your feet. Arms are out into a T, looking towards the left hand. Bend deeper into your left knee if you can. Knee is over the ankle. Right leg is straight. Right arm is reaching just as high as the left arm is. Stay here, be still, and keep breathing. Good, let's bring the hands to the hips, straighten out the left leg. Bring the right foot a little bit closer in, shortening your stance. Send your hips back, reaching the arms out into a T, come into triangle. Left arm reaches as far forward as you can, then bring it down, fingertips towards the mat, or anything else that you have, maybe your water bottle. Right arm reaches up. Try not to dump all your weight into this right arm, like this. Stay tall and lifted. Open bring yourself up towards the side of your space. One more breath. Bring your hands together, heart center, start to come onto the ball of your back foot. You're in a runner's lunge. Now we're going to make our way into warrior three. Bring all of the weight onto the left foot, right leg lifts up. Trying to allow the spine and the lifted leg to be parallel to the ground. Find more strength in each of your legs. We'll just be here for 2 more breaths. I'm shaking, maybe you are too. This is a challenge. From here, bring the hands down to the top of your mat, stepping back, come to plank. Take 1 breath in your plank. Come to downward facing dog. Let's step the right foot through, make our way into warrior two on this side. So you have a really wide stance with your feet. You're taking up almost the whole length of your mat. Arms extend out into a T. Look towards your right fingers. Your right knee is stacked and aligned over your right ankle. Equally strong, equally supported in both legs. Your back arm is lifted up just as high as your front arm is. One more breath. Good, straighten your legs, bring your hands to your hips. Shorten your stance, bringing your left foot closer towards your right foot. Send your hips back. Extend your arms up to a T, reach as far forward as you can. Left arm up, right hand down. Stay long and lengthen through the spine. Try not to collapse like this. Through that bottom hand, reach up more through the top hand. One more breath. Bring your hands together at your heart center. Come onto the ball of your back foot, your left foot. Lean forward, hovering over the right thigh. Bring all the way into your right foot. Lift the left leg up. Come into warrior three. Find your balance, find your pose, and then be there, be still. Heart pulls forward, Think of baby cobra in this pose, or upward facing dog, or a regular cobra. Your heart is lifting up a little bit. Your spine and your back leg, your left leg, is parallel to the ground. Let's just take one more breath. Bring the hands down, make your way into plank. 2 breaths here. Send your hips up and back, come to downward facing dog. And breathe. Shift forward, come to plank. Lower slowly down to your belly with control. Let's extend the arms up into a T. Lift everything up off of the mat, and we hold here. Gaze down to the mat. Just a few more breaths. Lower down, bring one hand over top of the other and rest your forehead onto your stacked palms. From here, keeping the forehead on the palms, start to lift your arms, your head, and your chest up. Legs stay down. Press your forehead a little bit down into your hands and your hands up into your forehead. One more breath here. Release down. Keep the hands stacked one on top of the other and just rest your forehead onto your hands. Bring your hands under your shoulders, make your way back to downward facing dog. Coming through tabletop or plank, whatever feels good for you. From here, step the left foot through in between the hands, top of the mat. We're going to face the long side of our mat. Feet come parallel to one another and parallel to the short sides of the mat. Inhale, lengthen out, and then exhale, fold. You can lower down to your forearms and your forward fold, or if you would like, you can walk your hands back towards the wall behind you, fingertips facing away from you. In this pose, don't allow your knees to lock out. Have a slight bend in your knees. more breath. From here, bring your hands to your hips. Come into a halfway lift. Allow your spine to be parallel to the ground as much as you can. Engage through your legs. Feel grounded and rooted through your feet. Bring your hands to heart center and stay here, or reach your arms out into a T. Just gaze down towards the mat right below you, releasing any tension around your neck and your shoulders. Stay so strong and rooted through your legs and your spine. Two more breaths. Bring your hands down and fold forward once again. Come back up onto your hands if you are lowered down to your forearms, and walk your hands over toward the top of your mat to your left foot. Step the left foot back to plank. Hold here for 2 breaths. Send your hips back to downward facing dog. Look forward to your hands, top of the mat. Make your way there on your exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold down over the legs. Inhale, come all the way up to stand, reach up. Hands come down through heart center. Let's take tree pose. Let's bring the right foot into tree pose. You can bring it on the ankle, the shin, or the thigh. Hands can come together at heart center, or arms can reach overhead, whatever you prefer. Press more weight into the left foot to lift up. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. Crown of the head is reaching towards the ceiling. Let's release. Step the foot down, bring your hand. We'll stand on the right foot, bring the left foot into tree. So it can come in onto the shin, or onto the thigh, or even down onto the ankle, whatever you like. Bringing your hands together at heart center, or reaching the arms overhead. Think of sending your hips forward, and then bringing the left knee back a little bit. It's okay if you fall out of tree pose, just come back into it. Don't think about it too much. Bring the left foot down. Down at your side. Just take a couple of breaths here. Be still and just breathe. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen out the spine. Plant your palms down, step back to plank, and we'll hold here for just a couple breaths. Send your hips back, downward facing dog. Legs can be bent, fingers are spread wide apart, arms are extended out long. Let's step the left foot through in between the hands, come into goddess pose. So hands come to your hips, pivoting on the feet. You have a nice long stance. Toes are out, heels are in, sit low into your squat. Shoulders over the hips, crown of the head is reaching up towards the ceiling. Bend your knees a little bit more if you can, sit low. You can keep your hands on your hips, you can bring your hands together at heart center, you can bring your arms into cactus arms. Keep breathing, be still in the pose, try not to fidget. Allow your knees to be coming out towards your pinky toes rather than in towards your big toes. As you do that, you'll feel your outer leg engage. Notice how your shoulders are feeling if you have your arms up into cactus arms. Good, let's release. Bring your hands to your hips, straighten out your legs. Pivot on your feet, so the feet point forward, top of the mat. Hands come down, bending into your left knee, step back, plank. Holding plank for a couple of breaths. Send the hips back into downward facing dog. Breathing in and breathing out in your downward facing dog. Let's now lower the knees down, bring the legs out in front of you. Legs are bent, coming into reverse tabletop. So hands come behind you, fingers can be facing the top of your mat, the sides of your mat, or the back of your mat. So you can experiment and see what feels best for your wrist. And then pressing into the hands, pressing into the feet will lift the hips up. You can adjust, setting the feet farther out towards the top of your mat or closer in, whatever you need. Lift the hips up higher. Fingers are spread nice and far apart. Press more into the feet, more into the hands. Lift up higher. One more breath. Lower down. Let's take a twist. But before we do that, bring the feet to the edges of your mat, hands behind you, and just take the knees from right to left. From here, we'll extend the right leg long, cross the left foot over it. Right arm wraps around the knee, left hand comes behind you, look over the left shoulder. Engage the right leg a little bit more. Right toes point up towards the ceiling. Shoulders over the hips. As we hold this pose, can you twist a little bit more? We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Come back to center. We'll switch sides. So extending the left leg long. Cross the right foot over, right leg is bent. Wrap the left arm around the knee, the right knee, right hand comes behind you, left arm wraps around the knee. Look over the right shoulder back behind you. Sit up taller, shoulders stacked over the hips. Twist a little bit more as we hold this pose. Left leg is super strong and engaged, toes up towards the ceiling. Can you sit up a little bit taller? Find more strength in your spine. And breathe. Stay here and breathe. Take one more breath. Come back to center, release. From here, come to a cross-legged seated position. One leg crossed in front of the other, sit up nice and tall. And then hinging from the hips, start to walk your hands out forward. Find a little forward fold. Forehead can come down to the mat or onto fists. Relax your shoulders down away from the ears. Find more length in your spine. Ground the sitting bones down towards the floor a little bit more. Come back up, take your time. We'll switch the cross of our legs. So the other leg is in front, sit up nice and tall, find length. And then walk your hands out in front, come into your forward fold. One more breath. Take your time to come all the way back up into a seated position. And from here, make your way down onto your back and come into our final pose of class, Shavasana. Legs go long, arms go long, take up lots of space on your mat. If it's more comfortable for you to have your knees bent, feet flat on the mat, please do that. If it's more comfortable for you to lie down on one side or even lie down on your belly, you can do that. This is your practice, so do what works best for you. Make any adjustments that you need to in your position, in your Shavasana. Get settled in, and then be still, and just breathe. Follow your inhale, and follow your exhale. Pay attention to your breath as it enters your body, and watch it as it leaves through your nose or through your mouth. Follow your inhale to the peak of it. And then you exhale and follow your exhale all the way. Watch your breath. Notice your breath. Be aware. There's nothing to do right now. Whatever is occupying your mind, your mental space can wait. Your to-do list, your grocery list, responsibilities, obligations, those can wait. Simply do your best to be right here, right now, for yourself. I'll leave you to rest in your Shavasana. Stay here for as long as you want. Give yourself this time. If you enjoyed this practice, please give this video a like. You can subscribe to this channel if you have not already. I will be posting a new yoga class every Friday. And I would love to hear how this practice went for you in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today.